this felt like a very personal story. I imagine this was something that you like really wanted to tell. I guess what was the inspiration for this? Hoping there's a happy inspiration, but from the story, I'm not sure if there would be. Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watcher Pass. Today I'm joined by Bomani J, Story, the writer and director of The Angry Black Girl and Monster, which is coming to theaters on June 9th, 2023. I'm going to talk to him right now. And while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. I'll spend a lot. Thank you. So thanks so much for joining me. This is Bomani J, Story, the writer and director of The Angry Black Girl and her Monster, which is coming to theaters on June 9th, 2023. It is a modern tale that is inspired by Frankenstein and Monster that touches on race, perception, and the American experience. It is a really wonderful horror story, and I really love how it deals with some topics that are kind of still percolating in America, even though we hope that they would all be gone by now. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited to talk to you.
Hey man, thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Of course, of course. So I have to ask, first question, you are a director, your last name is Story. Is that your real name? Because that's almost too perfect. Like you're a storyteller, your last name is Story. Is it predestined?
Yeah, it is. It is my real name. My daddy gave it to me. So like, yeah, that's my real last name.
He must have known. There must have been something about you, right?
Yeah, my mom gave me my first one, and my daddy gave me my last.
There you go. There you go. I guess you take after your dad. You probably take after both. This felt like a very personal story. I imagine this was something that you like really wanted to tell. I guess what was the inspiration for this? Hoping there's a happy inspiration, but from the story, I'm not sure if there would be.
No, I think the inspiration started with the literature, of course. You know, Frankenstein. Like I loved the book, and I just felt like a lot of interpretations were leaving a lot of stuff on the floor. So I wanted to recapture that, you know, and also refocus the story to where it really belongs. Because a lot of times when people think about this story, they're constantly focused on the monster when really it's about the rise and fall of this man. Thus the name Frankenstein, Victor Frankenstein. So I wanted to find something to do with it, and it wasn't until years later. And also, sorry, before that, like I was also raised by, well, not raised by, around my two older sisters who shepherded me and mentored me throughout my life, and were really my first contact with intelligence, because no one wants to listen to their parents, so they'll listen to the older siblings first. And so they were kind of my muse for this. So the combination of both those things were what really made me write this story and take it from there, and where it grew from.
So awesome. So you kind of like were interested in the old story, but you wanted to kind of like, I don't know, update it and maybe put in aspects of your life that helped to create this main character of Vicaria, which, you know, loosely, I love how, like, I love her character so much. I love how she is so outspoken and so, you know, unabashedly intelligent and so just kind of defiant. And I think that that is a nice kind of update from what I imagine Victor Frankenstein was, where he was just kind of like an isolated person that didn't want to deal with anyone.
Yeah, I mean, it was important to me to capture someone who it feels like it feels human. You know, not to say that Victor Frankenstein didn't feel human to me, but this was a different kind of humanity I wanted to capture. You know, this girl is moving a certain way because of not only her own family but her own community. You know, so, and if she feels that way, then she's going to be a part of the community. You know, she's there regardless of how they feel about her. She's going to be involved in some shape or form, if that makes sense. So it didn't really resonate with me to her to kind of just be someone who's not involved with them. You know, she can be strange, you know, and a little off from the rest of them, but she's still involved.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I think like one of the themes of this story, of the, you know, of the original, and also that your modern take, is that, you know, kind of the monsters are kind of shaped by the community around them. And, you know, to some extent, like Vicaria's acts, the things that she's obsessed with, the monstrous things that, you know, you could think that she did were in response to the things in her community, the events that were happening, and the situation that placed her in. And so I kind of like that, you know, there's like a story within the story here.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I think Vicaria was a very, I mean, I don't want to say fun, but I just really, I love that character. You know, as a writer, you know, it's like it was important for me to try to capture her humanity in all sides and shades of it.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I loved the way that you introduced her. I loved how at the start, you know, she's so outspoken. You can tell she's very smart. You can tell that she's like really opinionated. And then I loved and also hated the way that you made it such a natural progression into how racism could affect that, and how she could be targeted for doing something that you would encourage in school, and how that would then like affect her life and affect kind of her whole family situation. So that was poignant and also painful to watch.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a real thing, it's
Mhm.
that's happening. It's it's been happening, and I hope this is able to change some minds about how people talk to each other and treat each other. Whether that's in a classroom or outside of it. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah.
Yeah. No, and I think that that's so important because like I did not have that experience growing up. It's something that's foreign to me, and being able to see it accurately represented in entertainment and in kind of modern culture has just been so informative and so kind of vital for me to understand other people's experiences and things like that. So I think it's an important way. And I love that this is using horror as a vehicle to tell that story and to tell other, important, to touch on important topics as well.
Yeah, no, man. Thank you. Yes, like I love horror. It's it's a wonderful genre, incredible genre, and yeah, no, I'm glad that it's resonating. Because at least with you, because so you try things you don't know, you just don't know. So it means a lot. Thank you. I'm glad I'm glad it connected, man.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that you talk about trying new things, because I think this was the first full feature length film that you directed. You directed shorts before, but this was your first feature length film. So what was that like? Were you always, did you always kind of write this with the hope to direct it, or was that just kind of the situation that happened when you were trying to get this film made and trying to get your story told?
Yeah, no, I was definitely always trying to uh, direct this. That was always in mind for this, and so other than that, like it's like I wrote another feature film before that. Wasn't for me; it was for my good friend Trevor,
Mhm.
and it was Rock City Road. But after that, when I wrote this, it was always the intention for me to be in the director's chair.
Yeah. And I'm curious about the title because it is a, I don't know, provocative title. It gets you interested in this film. I didn't see Vicaria as that angry. I thought that she was just more kind of like defiant, but I know that was the title was probably used to kind of like portray the stereotypes of some outspoken young black kids. So what where did the title come from? Was this always the title, or was it just something that you kind of came up with as you were developing the story?
No, I mean, I think that like I mean, I keep telling people, but like I wish it was as simple as me kind of just being like, yeah, I want to be provocative, because that would be very easy and simple for me to say and move on, but it would be being dishonest.
Mhm.
And it really is, this title was an emotional journey for me, and it was more emotional than anything else. And it really, like, my titles come late, and it came late in the game with this script, and it felt right. And even though it felt right, I wasn't necessarily too confident in it yet, but like it felt appropriate. So I put it down. And then once we started, you know, introducing people to the story, and like once Leia got involved, and then she started challenging me on the title, and she was like, she read it and was like, well, I don't want to play a stereotype. But then she read the script, and then she slowly started to like own it, because then she was just like, oh, well, I can be angry if I want to be.
Mhm.
I can not be angry. Like, I shouldn't be penalized for any of these things, right? So she started kind of wearing it as a badge, and then Chad Coleman got involved, and then he was just like, he saw the title as something that was like, oh, it's what people project on.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But it may not necessarily be the truth, what's going on.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's
So
yeah.
yeah, and once I saw the title, as more people were chiming in and giving, I mean, and wearing, and even like Reilly, she had her thoughts, and Amani, she was 7 and she came up to me and was talking to me about it, like during the process, and that more and more people got involved while we're making the movie about the title and how it made them feel, and the title became alive within its own right. I became more and more confident in it as a thing for this movie.
So it really was just an emotional journey with it, and that's still evolving now.
Yeah, there you go. I'm glad it all worked out. And you get the benefit. I've talked to a couple of indie directors that you want that title to be in the upper part of the alphabet, so people are scrolling through new movies. Your movie will be up at the front. You start with Angry. That's perfect. Everything works out.
No, like I didn't even realize that until like when we got into South by Southwest, and then my movie would pop up, and I was just like, oh yeah, Angry Black Girl, AB. The only way you win is if you do AA or something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect.
Helps out. Yeah.
Everything seems to be working out for you in this movie. And I also love that, like, I don't know, I guess like fashion became part of the monster. That felt like a very kind of modern update to it. I love looking at Chris, and his jeans were kind of a patchwork, and his, like, he had like a black sweater and then like a brown hoodie. I assume that was intentional. That was like to kind of like showcase the Frankenstein type aspect of it. But was that something that you envisioned? Was that something that kind of like your I don't know, set designer or someone came up with?
No, man, like I'm glad you talked about that, because a lot of times like Kaylee, our, costume designer, she gets forgotten, but a lot of brilliant work happens with costuming. And between her and our creature designer, they we came up with certain things for this, and like Kaylee really brought the heat when it came to what the costuming means to someone, and what kind of effect it's going to have on screen. And when we were talking about the monster, she really, brought this to life. So shout out to Kaylee Brenneman on this. She did a phenomenal job, and really captured our ways for us to like nod to what we're referencing, without saying anything at all.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's exactly how I took it. That's awesome. And you mentioned that you love the horror genre. I could tell because you had like almost all practical effects in this. Was that something, I assume that you kind of wanted to do practical effects that really made the monster and some of the things that happened really kind of pop? What was that like? And had you done this stuff before, or was this all kind of new for you on your first feature?
I mean, it was basically new because I haven't done I haven't directed a feature. I've done like very light, um, practical effects on stuff, but not to this degree. Shout out to Christina Cordum. She did not only was she our creature effects person, but she did also all the gore on set as well.
Hmm.
And she was kind of a one woman band doing that. But yeah, no, I love practical effects. I think they're awesome, and I think we need to see more of it. So it was very important to me from the beginning to do that for this movie. I didn't really want, a CG thing walking around. I just didn't think that was necessary for this movie.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely not. It definitely
yeah.
helps like tell the story and give you like give you a sense of realism, if you can say that with a horror movie. And oftentimes you'll have like a horror film where there'll be this big build up to this moment, this like pivotal moment. You see the monster, you see the thing, and it's all CG, and you're just like, oh, like is that what it's supposed to look like? That just looks off. So
Yeah. No, I think the human eye is more detail oriented than people want to give it credit for. And I think audiences can pick up on that. Now, it's like, and I think that forgot who said, I think I heard Paul Thomas Anderson say during an interview, he's like, the greatest magic trick you can have on screen is an actor, and a great performance. And to me, like Edam behind the mask with it was just, fantastic. And there's a lot of great, people who can operate, do these things. Now, I don't want to take anything away from people like, for instance, like Smeagol in Lord of the Rings. It's
Mhm.
just like that's a
Yeah,
fantastic performance, and that's not practical, but there's still an actor kind of doing stuff. But I just think that for me personally, it's just like with the practical effects, I think it gives a nice like a nice look and grounds it in ways that I don't know if CG really can. I think the human eye is more discerning.
yeah, for sure. And I know we have very limited time, so I just have a couple very quick questions. I call them lightning round. They're just very lightweight questions about the film. I want to see, you know, things about the film. I want to see how your personal experiences map to things that happen in the film. You can feel free to skip any of them. I won't be offended, but I try to keep them very answerable.
Okay.
The first question is, when you were growing up, was there anything you were obsessed with?
Yes, I'm trying to figure out quickly what it was. 'Cause they're just like, right now, let's just say hip hop. I loved music growing up. I really
That's a,
liked listening to hip hop.
that's a great answer. When was the last time you electrocuted yourself?
Does Static Shock catch like while you're like walking and you do static and you're just like, I like, does that count?
I mean, I like the bigger shock. You know, that's kind of more fitting with the story. But
Never been bigger shocked before, so that's never happened. But I have gotten static shocked before.
a charmed life. Do you have a favorite scientist?
Ooh, favorite scientist. That's too hard for me to rack my brain quickly. Ooh, let's
right.
skip it. Yeah.
No worries. And then the last question is, were you considered normal in school, or did you have like some strange interests?
I would say definitely like a mixture of both. You know, some of my friends didn't like that I was, into certain like animes or like trading card games, and then certain friends didn't like that I liked sports and playing basketball. So it was a weird kind of situation. So there are times where people thought I was a little bit off. They still think I'm off now. So
Hey, you know what? I'm happy that you're off. It's fun to kind of see the stories that come from that nice mix of things. And I think anime and sports are becoming more common now. So, maybe.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah, for sure.
And then I guess I got one more quick follow-up question. Is there someone that you would bring back from the dead, knowing the consequences of, your story that you have told? Like if those rules were in play, is there someone that you would bring back from the dead just to risk it?
No, if the rules of the movie are in play. Well, actually, I take that back, because if the rules of the movie are in play, then well, spoiler alert, for certain things. But if all the rules are in play, then yeah, I mean, I think I'd probably bring back either my cousin, or because he passed too soon, and or maybe my some of my grandparents or great grandparents, just to talk to the ones that I never even got a chance to meet, just to kind of learn things. I think that would be beautiful to have some kind of conversation with them about life and their history, and like how it led up to eventually my grandparents and parents, you know what I mean, just like some ancestors and stuff. I think that'd be dope.
Yeah, no, exactly. Just that would be awesome. Just kind of like get their experiences as well, and just kind of like weave that into your own story.
Yeah.
So the film is out in theaters on June 9th, 2023. You're out promoting the movie, getting the word out. I imagine there's other stories in your head that you want to tell after people see the Angry Black Girl and Monsters. Or anything else they can look forward from you, or are you just going to take a break and just reflect on this whole experience?
Oh hell no, man! Listen, I got another script, and I'm sitting on it right now. And it's like the best way I could describe it is Juice meets Lord of the Rings.
I'm excited for all these mashups. I can't wait to see this. So you can look for that unnamed script sometime in the future. But for now, you can check out The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster in theaters on June 9th, 2023. This is Bomani J Story, the writer and director. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was Bomani J Story, the writer and director of The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster, which is coming to theaters on June 9th, 2023. It's a modern story inspired by Mary Shelley's Frankenstein that touches on race, perspective, and the American experience. If you liked this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.